Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is the Ray Taylor Show.
Rayz Dayz, episode 141, where I recap my week. This is the show where if you want to get to know me more, this is the place you should be as I talk about my week, as what I've been working on as an artist, as a podcaster, as a business owner, and it has been quite an interesting week. I have a few things that I'm kind of excited to talk about. First of which, not necessarily excited to talk about, but it is a life event that happened this past week. It was my 42nd birthday. Woohoo! I don't really celebrate my birthday like I used to. I mean, my 20s was a time where my birthday was, I enjoyed getting friends together and us doing something special. And, in my 30s, I think that really changed. And now that I'm in my 40s, I really don't care. It was on a Thursday, so I had to paint because I paint every Thursday on YouTube at 4:20. So youtube.com/inspireddisorder. And, so that didn't change. Same as Thanksgiving. It doesn't matter if it's a holiday. It doesn't matter if it's my birthday. I paint every Thursday. I record this show every Sunday. And that is just how it is. But, it was a good day despite having to paint. Not having to paint, but despite not being able to just sleep in and do whatever I wanted to. It was still a good day. I made sure to get all of the work I needed to get done early, so I didn't have as much to do. I even got all of my equipment set up the day before. So Thursday, I really kind of had a very easy day. Made myself some pizza. Usually I'll make myself a meal that on my birthday to kind of celebrate, just to eat a good meal. I used to get drunk, smoke weed, all those things, just to kind of relax and enjoy the day. But since I don't smoke weed anymore, since I don't drink alcohol or rarely drink anymore, I'm basically sober and basically poor. I only really celebrated by not doing as much and making a pizza, which I was kind of bummed when I went grocery shopping. They didn't have. I've been on a pepperoni. A few weeks ago, I was thankful for pepperoni pizza. It's my favorite kind of pizza, and I've just kind of been in the pepperoni pizza mood. And they didn't have any. They only had cheese and Supreme. So I got the Supreme, which is good. I enjoy all pizzas. Don't get me wrong, but I've come to the conclusion that the pepperoni pizza is my favorite pizza. And simple, but I love it. And they didn't have it, so I got the Supreme. But it was good regardless. I also got cheesecake, as I do, kind of one of the few traditions I do for my birthday, to get myself a cheesecake, and which I guess started with my last relationship over a decade ago. She would actually make... because I've always loved cheesecake, and she actually would make a specific kind of cheesecake that was delicious. So it's kind of a tradition that I've continued on from that moment. But sadly, again, not only so I clearly went shopping on the wrong day of the week, right? Go shopping. They didn't have my pepperoni pizza, so I had to get Supreme. They didn't have just a normal cheesecake. What they had was a pumpkin cheesecake that was whipped. So it's not as dense as a normal cheesecake, which is how I prefer it. It was more like whipped cream that was flavored like pumpkin, which was fine. I love pumpkin pie. I even enjoy pumpkin cheesecake. But it was like, it was just, a compromise, basically, of the things that I would have preferred, but, got the closest facsimile of. And then my roommate also baked a cake, which was a surprise and was nice. I just basically ate a bunch of sugar this past week. Just not eating very healthy. I'm not necessarily completely unhealthy, but definitely a lot of sweets that I don't necessarily consume that much of. But other than that, good birthday. Got my paintings done. Felt, I think they turned out okay. But it was one of those times, even though I didn't necessarily feel rushed, despite the fact that it was my birthday, I don't know. I was just in the moment, not happy with what I made. But then looking back, it was one of those things where it's in the moment I'm unhappy with my paintings. But then the next day when I photograph them and I edit all the making of videos to prepare all the social media content that will go live the next week, I have a different opinion now. I enjoy it more. I appreciated it more, which tends to happen a lot, which is kind of a weird thing where in the moment I won't be happy with how it's turning out. But given just the next day, I have a completely different opinion on it. Let's take a little break from the show to promote gift certificates. If you want to purchase artwork for somebody, you have an art lover in your life, and you think they would like my art, but you don't know what painting to get them. I have over 2,000 original pieces of art for sale in my store, along with shirts and prints and other things. So I can understand that being a bit daunting if you're trying to buy something for somebody else. Give them the gift certificate, and then they can go to my website, inspireddisorder.com, and they can buy whatever paintings they want. They can buy whatever prints they want. They can buy t-shirts. They can buy hats. They can buy all the different merch. Gift certificates, which are available currently at inspireddisorder.com. And now let's get back to the show. All in all, pretty decent week. But the major thing that happened this last week, which if you're online, I don't know how you could have missed this event, basically, that happened. The explosion of the AI chatbot known as ChatGPT. Like, there was a day where every single video on TikTok was somebody talking about ChatGPT and how mind-blowing it is. And people from, like, different professions using it, testing it out on things they know about their professions, and being mind blown and kind of scared that a lot of jobs are going to be taken away. Which, if you watch my show Swipe Up, where I talk about current events, I've talked a few times about AI and how it's going to be replacing many jobs, and the release of this chat-based AI is just another example of how many people are going to be just removed, like unnecessary for a lot of companies. Will replace people, will replace art departments and all kinds of different things, all kinds of different departments with AI. But also will give people like myself, business owners who are willing to learn and use new tools. It's something that excited me is the fact that it will be something that I can use and benefit from. Being somebody that does all of my work myself, I don't have any employees or interns or anything. I prep, I record, I edit, I post, I do all the social media by hand. I don't because I place music to certain videos, my painting videos. I do every morning post all of my social media myself. It's not, most people will upload it and schedule it like I do my podcast episodes, or videos that go on YouTube get scheduled, but everything that goes up on social media I do by hand. And in playing around with ChatGPT, so on Monday, I basically played around with it all day just to see, because I'd been hearing about it but didn't have any time to play with it during the weekend, producing last week's shows and prepping for last week's shows, which I barely was able to do because I was distracted with other stuff. So Monday I just played around with it, seeing kind of different things it can do, just to wrap my head around what its capabilities are. In addition to seeing all these videos, like there was a doctor on TikTok who basically gave symptoms for a patient and then gave the patient's medical history, and to see how accurately it was able to diagnose and give treatment options for a patient, like basically doing what a doctor would do, diagnosing and treating a patient. There was a marketing professional that was typing in like a big project that her team has been working on. And basically ChatGPT came up with a very similar plan and rollout schedule and all of these different things that she did. There was a hypnotist guy that was blown away, like a self-help type of guy. There was a person talking about like they asked it to create a menu for a kids party where there's a lot of picky eaters. So it created a menu, and then it asked it to make a shopping list based on that menu. It created the shopping list. There's people who are in, personal trainers, life coaches, dietitians, just so many writers. Obviously, it's what I've found after playing with it. So I played with it on Monday, just playing around. And then Tuesday, I tried figuring out what I could use it for, right? It's a tool that will do a lot of things, especially things that I don't like to do or don't know how to do. Like, it will take me having to learn and research a thing out of the equation to where it can be that assistant that knows how to do things. I still double check the work. I still, am dictating. I'm delegating the tasks I want it to do. I have to effectively communicate what I want to be done. So there is a learning curve as far as being able to properly communicate the ideas you want to be created, and then a bit of a little refinement. Like, it's not perfect, obviously, but especially if you're not super clear with your directions that you want it to do, but trying to find out different ways to use it. Some coming up with the ideas on my own, some asking the AI how it could help me do this, that, or the other. And Wednesday I started, kind of testing what I think I might want it to do for me. And there's a lot of things that I plan on having it do. One, I had it write. So I do a personal blog for Inspired Disorder Plus every week. And this past week, I kind of took the week off because in my playing around with it on Monday, I used it to see if it could generate what it would look like if I used it to generate a blog for me. So I had it write a blog, and then I had it come up with a bunch of different title options. I had it come up with different like preview texts for it. I had it come up with prompts that I could then use in DALL-E 2 to generate an image, which the blogs that I post on Inspired Disorder Plus, the images associated with those blogs, I use DALL-E 2 to generate those images. Generally, they're images that relate to what I'm talking about in the blog. And it's just kind of an easy way for me to, instead of trying to Google an image that would work, or spending an hour doing Photoshop, using other people's images to create this thing. It's like it's basically like if I had an intern working for me, I would write the blog and, hey, intern, this is what the blog's about. Can you come up with an image based on, this is the idea I have for the image that would relate. And then it comes up with some options. I choose the one if I need it refined. The same way if I'm an art director, right? I have an employee, hey, I need you to generate 4 options of an image that has these kind of elements in it for this is the idea I have. And then it comes up with it, and I select, and I'm like, I like this one. Can you do it a different way? Right? That's kind of what it's like. Same thing whether it's images being generated in DALL-E 2 or the text, the things that I'm having ChatGPT create for me, which I've found very beneficial in creating YouTube titles, descriptions, and tags. It's also taught me something that I wasn't aware of, because I've been trying to optimize the SEO on YouTube specifically to get more views, because that is one of the few ways I can generate income passively, is by generating views with video, and improving the SEO will help that. But what I found out is that you can overpack keywords, and that search engines will notice if you're trying to do that, which is technically what I was doing, and that it could be not beneficial. That could be detrimental to showing up in search results. So in using this, I realized I was doing a thing too much, which was actually hurting me. And now I can use it to generate titles, descriptions, and tags that are all optimized for search engine, SEO optimized with keywords. And also, the titles are basic. The tags are great, easy way. I was getting tags through another service, but this I actually enjoy, because I know I know it's all being created at the same time by a thing that understands what I'm doing. So anyway, YouTube titles, descriptions, and tags, using it for that. Also, I'm doing a new podcast, episode by episode recap podcast, since the Midnight Club is over. I did the preview. If you subscribe to the Ray Taylor Show, next Tuesday will be the first episode. I'm doing episode by episode recaps of the HBO show, The Rehearsal with Nathan Fielder. And as part of my test to see how different things I could use it for, I had it do a lot of prep for that. I had it write the script that I read on Tuesday. That was written 100% by AI. Changed a couple things, but written by AI. I had it write out intro and outro, which I may or may not use for the show. I had it write out a template for what the episodes should look like, which I might use. And then I had it write out a script for an episode, which is definitely not what I don't do scripted stuff. I'm really not. I'd prefer to just, what I have done, figured out, that I've started to use for like Swipe Up, which is the show where I talk about I give my opinions on news articles. And to save me from having to read the news articles, what I will do using ChatGPT is I will copy the news article, post it into ChatGPT, and ask it to summarize the article for me, and then also pull out and then separate it into bullet points. And 10 bullet points is what I've asked it to do. This is the first week I've used it. And what I found, it informs me more on what the article's about, instead of just whatever my casual assumptions are of the article. And then so I'm more accurate when I'm talking about what the story's about, but then also I can be more accurate with my opinions on it, because that's ultimately what that show is. So it's making that a little bit better, but also it's helped me come up with a new title and description for that show. It's helped me come up with a new title and description for this show to hopefully build the audiences for these two shows, because they're not as easily searchable as the movie reviews and top fives are. So I've had it do that. And then also what I'm going to do, which I'm using my phone right now to record, to dictate into my notes app, transcripts for the podcast, which you can get. YouTube generates them when you upload a video to YouTube. They're not super accurate. Apparently, using the iPhone's speech to text is more accurate. I haven't actually put it to use. This will be my first kind of trial run this week. But the idea using the transcripts is that I will take the transcripts from an episode, be able to put it into ChatGPT, and I'll have it do an outline of the episode. So if you go to the show description, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about in the episode, specifically this show, Swipe Up. Also, I want to start a blog versions of my movie reviews, and just, I guess, every episode I could do, turn it into a blog version. So there'll be a Ray Taylor Show blog where I will have it rewrite the transcript into a blog form. Hopefully. We'll see how that works. Obviously, I'm going to have to read through it. There might be changes, but it will be able to do a lot more with a lot less time and more accurate. So I'm going to be using it to refine certain things, to hopefully just fill out things that I'm weak with things that I've struggled with trying to figure out how to add titles and descriptions and tags to things that work the best. So that's mainly what I'm using it for. Right? So it's almost like an intern that's helping me out with like SEO stuff, and just getting me options for creative titles of things, specifically with like experimenting with interesting titles for the clips that I do, the 1-minute social media clips I do, or the longer clips that I put on YouTube. So it's going to be doing all of those things. Also, I want to use it for figuring out my painting SEO, figuring out marketing my artwork, coming up with a plan and doing all these different things. Also, a newsletter. I'd like to use it to start doing a newsletter, at least monthly newsletter, as well as writing emails to contact potential sponsors. So in addition to all these other things, and since the viewership of this show, subscribers of this show is growing like crazy, I want to start connecting with brands, and I'm not very good at writing things in a way that would work good. So I'm going to be using this in order to send out emails that are professional and to hopefully figure out good ways to start getting sponsorships for the show. So all of those things, I'm going to be using this new tool, this new AI tool, to help improve my show, help refine a bunch of things I'm already doing, help improve my prep for the show, help improve the finished product, adding the blog, which is something I would never do, right? I mean, aside from my personal blog, which I'm still going to write, aside from this test that I did this past week, letting AI do it, I'm going to be doing it for Inspired Disorder Plus. But as far as doing blogs for movie reviews and the things that I podcast about, I'll be taking the words that I say in the podcast and having that rewritten into a blog form. So just trying to make everything better, make everything more professional, make everything, just filling out every aspect of a thing that I can do using this tool that can generate it in seconds. It is insane how fast this thing works and how pretty good. I mean, it's definitely not perfect, but it's like having an assistant that knows how to figure all kinds of shit out, which I appreciate. So that has been the huge aspect of this week, playing around with ChatGPT, figuring out how I can implement that into what I do, and figuring out the best ways to use it to improve things, to make, not necessarily give me less work to do, but improve the work that I do, make the work I do more effective and of better quality. So that's been the big thing that I've been like obsessed with this week. Let's take a little break from the show to promote the benefits of Inspired Disorder Plus. So you go inspireddisorder.com/plus. Sign up, $5 a month. You get to binge the full week of the Ray Taylor Show ad-free. You get to watch all of the live painting videos I do. You get a special members-only discount and deals for all of the artwork and merch that I sell. You also get the complete podcast back catalog of every podcast I've ever produced, hundreds of episodes, countless different podcasts. You also get access to my personal blog. A new blog comes out every week. In addition to that, you get my creative writing that I'm releasing. You also get access to asking me anything. 14 years of experience podcasting. I've been creating art my entire life. I've been using Photoshop since middle school, and you can contact me to ask me questions about that or anything else. So those are the benefits for signing up for Inspired Disorder Plus. And now let's get back to the show. And as I like to do in every episode of Rayz Dayz, because it is so easy to be negative about things, to be critical of things, I want to highlight something in my life that I am thankful for, that I've been doing for a few months now on this show at the end of every episode. And in this week, this week, I'm thankful for kind of something that, you know, can definitely manifest itself in a very negative way in people, can manifest itself negatively in me, probably at times, make me a little bit difficult to deal with. But it is part of me, and it's something that clearly I've been in that mode this week. So this week I'm thankful for my mania, as I am a self-diagnosed bipolar. Depression is something that it's been easy to identify in myself throughout my entire life. But the manic part, the mania, has been something that I always had a different definition, which is a different type of bipolar, which is definitely more dangerous and troubling manifestation of mania. Whereas in me, it's part of it is this energy I get, this inspiration I get with a new thing. I get amped up over, like this week, amped up with ChatGPT, which I appreciate and I'm thankful for because it gives me this fuel that I have. One, it gives me immense optimism and hope, which obviously the opposite side of depression, especially like severe depression. But then because of that high, it can kind of, when the reality of the thing sets in, can make me swing the other way and be depressed because this thing I was so amped up about and hopeful for doesn't necessarily have the immediate positive impact that I assume it will, which I don't necessarily assume that it will, but I see all of the ways this thing is going to help improve what I do. And that kind of feeds into the mania and feeds into my hope and my energy and my stoke to use this thing, but also to kind of proselytize this thing, where I noticed it when I was talking to an old friend of mine, recommending it to them. She's a teacher, science teacher, and also bipolar, and she immediately noticed because she wasn't as excited as I was. She was definitely more tentative, and as I am in most things, knowing the downsides of what AI is going to do to society, but my excitement seeing how it's going to benefit me personally, I have been telling people and hoping that they would have the same excitement that I do, but because it's not something that's affecting them necessarily, there's a complete disparity in energy that's coming from different people. And it was, clearly I had already kind of felt like I've kind of gotten used to identifying when I am in those manic states, when I have that kind of that energy where like my brain is constantly going. I'm thinking of like potential way down the road of things and like really positive, really hopeful, really optimistic, which of course can come back to bite you in the butt when reality sits in. But for me, and it's something that in creating the name for the business that I run, Inspired Disorder, I wasn't necessarily aware of the clinical definition of what I have, but I always knew that inspiration was something that fueled me and that gave me a lot of energy, and at times felt like it was a disorder. Not necessarily a negative disorder, but it definitely can be. Having somebody that's super positive and energized about a thing that maybe other people don't get, and then to see the opposite side of how I can be as well when I'm severely depressed. But it gives me that energy to like push forward, to experiment with things, to change and grow, and like it gives me like it feels like I it's it's in some ways it's like how an energy drink can wake you up, right? But it wakes me up in a way to where I feel like I can accomplish anything, right? Like that everything is within reach. Everything is possible. And that's not real. Definitely something in my head. But that mindset is something that I enjoy, like when it's like surfing, right? You can go out on your board and there could be no waves, and then all of a sudden you see a set coming in and you take advantage of that set, riding every wave you can, because who knows when the next set of waves is coming. And for me, I'm riding this energy, this manic energy, to get, focusing that energy into productive things, projects that I need to get done, ways in which I can improve and refine how I do things in a way. So I'm kind of like taking advantage of this energy that I get when I'm manic and putting it to a good use, and hopefully not disturbing anybody around me, which I don't think I am, but it can lead me to being, more irritated and have less patience for people and be more defensive about things, because I am so amped. And when other people aren't sharing that ampedness, that stoke, it can almost be offensive, but I think that I'm able to notice it. I think I'm able to handle that. Like I've matured in that way a little bit more over the years, especially knowing that it is something that I do. So I got to say, I'm thankful for it. And I also realize that the way it manifests in me isn't as dangerous as it can be in other people, because it can be exponentially more in other people. And that's how I always thought and had mania kind of defined. Whereas the way it manifests in some people, because there's different forms of bipolar disorder, I happen to be like, I swing farther in the depression mode, where I don't necessarily swing as much in the manic mode. So I'm thankful for it, right? I love myself. It is a fault, but it is something that I try to take advantage of and harness that energy when it does show up, because it's not always here. And who knows, in another month I could be swinging the other way, and who knows. But at least I'm taking advantage of it while the opportunity exists, and striking while the iron's hot, I guess you could say. So that's been my week. I hope everybody's been having a good week. Let me know if you've been playing around with ChatGPT. Whatever profession you're in, I would highly recommend checking it out and experimenting with it. It is a thing that has gained more users faster than any other web service, and it's just the beginning. It is insane, the reality we're going to be existing in the next 10 years. I mean, the next 5 years. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm excited to see how I can use it and implement it. And would love to hear how you use it and what you've done with it, what fun things. But anyway, that's been my week. I hope everybody's having a good week. Peace.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace. Peace out.
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.